Hey guys, Ranger here, and welcome back to another video. And this is a reaction review of the 15th episode of MLP, which is Triple Threat. Now, this particular video that I downloaded, there's like a bit of lag for some reason in the first second or two. I don't know why, but it is in high quality. Hopefully this one will work. But let's go ahead and get on with it. Double check. But anyway, now I have no idea. I managed to avoid all spoilers with this episode. I really have no idea what this episode is about whatsoever. I don't know anything about this episode. So without further ado, let's begin. Start the video on 3, 2, 1, click. Twilight!
Is the banner even?
Starlight!
Are the flowers in place? By which I mean completely out of view.
Brave Punch.
I'm pretty sure dragons don't like flowers. And what about the ceremonial dragonfire flame of friendship? Is it still flaming?
The what?
Spike, everything
Dude.
looks great. You're getting yourself worked up for no reason.
Yeah, that's normally Twilight's job.
In fact, I wrote them down.
You've been hanging around Twilight for too long.
Reason number 1, I invited Dragon Lord Ember to Ponyville today. Reason 2, the Dragon Lord is a dragon. Reason 3, she's coming here to learn more about friendship.
According to Ember's letters, the dragons are trying to be friends, but competing is in their nature, and it's leading to more and more fights.
Which brings me to reason number 4. The Dragon Lord
Kinda
wants
sounds like
my
human
advice.
beings.
And as the new official equestrian friendship ambassador to the dragons, I can't let her down.
I know you feel a lot of pressure, but you got this, Spike.
I just want things to be perfect. Thorax!
Thorax! Hey, dude!
Ponyville!
Of course I am, silly. You invited me, and I'm not one to back out of an invitation. Hey, Twilight! Hey, Starlight!
Hey!
Ooh, I can't believe you did all this for me. Great.
Oh, no!
Stage. What's this flame thingy? Oh, it's pretty.
You invited Thorax over to Ponyville on the same day as Ember?
He's kind of an insect, so he's kind of
That
natural.
doesn't seem like a good idea. How are you going to entertain them both?
I have no idea.
I think it's kind of funny, like he's naturally attracted to light because he's an insect. Okay, first off, already some cuteness with Starlight and Twilight. Pretty cute. Okay. Now, what I mentioned whenever I said that about kind of like human beings, kind of like how some people are just naturally prone for some reason to being jerks. It's like their life depends on it for them to be jerks. They don't know how to be any other way. But yeah, this is interesting. And I'm wondering how they're going to go about this. And this is probably going to be a Spike-centered episode, isn't it?
Completely forgot. Thorax wrote and said he needed to talk, and
Lag
I told him
for
to
some
come
reason.
over. I didn't realize it was the same day I invited Ember. What am I gonna do?
Well, maybe they'll like each other.
Probably not. Ember is tough and self-assured and intimidating, and Thorax is...
Spike, I'm so glad you invited me. You are one of my closest, nicest, most caring, most understanding friends ever. Ooh, is that ice in the shape of a dragon?
Yeah, I see your point. They might not get each other.
Worse, they'll hate each other. And if the leader of the Changelings and the Dragon Lord get into a fight, oh, I could be responsible for starting a war that could ruin Equestria as we know it.
Dude, you've really been hanging around Twilight too much. Also, so
Sure,
that's...
that won't happen. Now pull it together.
So, Thorax.
So, that's how Fallout Equestria started.
Well,
It
honestly,
wasn't the
no,
zebras.
Not really. I have indigestion. I'm not sure if it's the new diet or stress or maybe it's both.
No!
Yeah, it really could be both. And it might be affecting my sleeping too. I'm a real
Uh-oh.
tosser and turner.
Sounds like you really need to unwind. How about
Taking a nap?
a trip to the castle? You can't miss that view.
Yes, the castle. I'll give you a personal tour.
Aren't you coming?
Yeah, I'm just gonna grab some ice cream for us and catch up.
Oh boy. Yo, M, what's up? That's adorable. That's...
Dragon Lord Ember! As the official equestrian friendship ambassador for the Dragonlands and for Ponyville, I, Spike of Ponyville, welcome
Okay,
you.
those outfits are adorable on those ponies there.
I gotta work on my official speech.
Okay, thanks. Right, the hug thing.
Still getting used to it.
This place has a lot of colors. In the Dragonlands, everything's just rocks or the color of ash. That's probably why. Hey, Twilight!
Actually, I'm Starlight. Starlight Glimmer. Nice to meet you.
Oh, sorry. I'm really gonna have to get used to these pony names. Lots of lights and shiny things. So where's Twilight?
She's in her castle.
We should go visit her then. Part of friendship is saying hi to your friends, right?
Well, yeah, but come on.
I have a feeling this is really going to
You're making
backfire.
Weird noises. Do you have a stomach ache?
I think I feel one coming on.
You know,
Well,
an
you know
interesting
what
turn
I
of
was going to
events.
say? Push past the pain. Now let's go.
You know what would be an interesting turn of events if Ember... I can't believe I'm saying Ember because that's the name of Miles too. Unintentionally, like I named her that before the dragon. But like, seriously, no. Miles was named before I ever saw this dragon.
Good. They're not here.
What was that?
But
I said
yeah.
it's all clean in here.
Interesting turn of events will be if Ember actually thought that Spike had a crush on her, and that's why he was acting nervous.
Please, I'd love to present you with an official friendship welcome banquet.
That would be awkward as crap. She eats rocks. Oh, never mind. Oh,
So
okay.
this is something friends do? I can get used to this.
Actually, that's not food.
Dragons love gems.
Fine, but you're telling Twilight what happened to her wall.
Ah!
Just keep her here. Okay, yeah. Enjoy all the crystal.
Starlight's like, dude, why are you leaving me alone
I
here?
thought this was an official friendship banquet.
Just gotta use a little dragon's room.
So, this is my comfy chair for fictional reads. This is my studying
That's
chair
adorable.
because the hard back keeps me awake.
That's cute.
Oh,
I mean,
Spike,
to Starlight.
I'm so glad you're here. Well, this castle visit is getting weird. Twilight really likes chairs. Oh, what happened to the ice cream?
What? Oh, right. They ran out. Hey, I'm really sorry, but I gotta borrow Twilight quickly. Be right back.
But we didn't get to talk yet.
I remember a similar setup with this.
Ember's here.
I know. I saw you coming and had to distract Thorax by showing him chairs. Why did you bring Ember to the castle of all places?
Where like one
I
character
don't know.
had
I was
an
asking for you,
affair
Thorax wants to
that they
talk
had to
me.
be to or be at, and so they tried to be at both.
All we have to do is
Or they
make both
tried to
Thorax and Ember feel
hang out
special
with
and
both
keep them
people
apart
at the
for a
same
few more
time.
hours. We can do this.
No, we can't.
Ah! What's happening?
You've turned into a glowworm.
I think it's the map. It's calling you. Apparently, you also have to solve a friendship problem.
Oh! Oh! Wonderful! Bloody wonderful!
Map is calling me?
Right now!
Amazing! The map is really reaching out. Not a good time. I get it.
Spike, are you here? Ember's eaten all of Twilight's
Yeah.
decorations.
Oh, hey, Twilight!
Don't worry, Spike just turned into a dance floor.
Glowing map.
Glowing spikes.
Yep.
That's not good.
I know.
At least your friendship problem is in Ponyville.
You know what?
Okay, okay.
You know what? Anytime you want to go to a rave, just take Spike. Like,
You two need to keep Ember and Thorax separate.
I just had an image. Hook him up to a subwoofer. You just imagine the lights flashing.
Yes. Go
Sorry.
easy on me. I'm under a lot of pressure. Friendship problem? Any pony got a friendship problem here? Any problems to solve?
Dude, I already know where the friendship problem's coming in at. It's... Oh, she's cute.
Friendship problems?
She's cute.
Any
Was that crab apple?
No? Okay.
Well, I think vanilla strawberry cream is overused.
Yes! Fighting! I mean, what seems to be the problem?
Dude, it's Ember and
There you are.
Okay, right. More pony hugs.
How's your trip to Ponyville so far?
Well, I'm certainly learning a lot about friendship. I had no idea it was polite to decorate your walls in your friends' favorite foods. Where'd Spike and Starlight go? I feel like I'm being avoided.
No, they're just making sure everything is perfect for your welcome party later. In the meantime, how about I show you around town?
Sounds good. I can't exactly learn about friendship if I don't make new friends.
True.
Hey, Thorax. Twilight and Spike had some boring official paperwork to deal with, so looks like you and I get to hang out. What would you like to do?
But I wanted to talk with Spike. He said he'd be right back.
Oh, you will, but first, how about we grab a bite to eat?
Well, you know, now that you've said it, I am a little hungry. Is there a dining room in the castle?
No! I mean, yeah, but that's castle food. If you want the good stuff, we gotta go to town.
Phew. And that's why you should never let cupcake flavors get in the way of your friendship.
Huh. I guess I never thought of it that way. Thanks, Spike.
Oh, come on, Glow!
Spike! There you are. Done with your boring paperwork, I see.
Yep. I am done with whatever Starlight says I was doing.
Thorax wanted to get out of the castle. I thought coming to town was a
Sure.
really, really great idea.
Ear flops,
Well,
adorable.
maybe now we can talk.
Sure.
I'll leave you guys to it.
First of all, I want to say thank you for having me over. I'm in a bit of a leadership pickle, and I could use some advice.
Dude,
Well,
the
to
concept
help you out as quick as
of what
possible.
the...
Here's my problem. There's this renegade group of changelings who still feed off of love. Even though I said, hey, let's not do that anymore, they say, hey, this is how we've been doing things for hundreds of years. It's like they don't
Right.
want to, even though I'm the leader and I...
Right. An interesting development there. Oh no.
Hello! I
Oh,
am
okay.
Ember, daughter of Torch, winner of the Gauntlet of Fire, and lord of all dragons.
Cool. Not exactly the best way to say hello.
Usually when I do that, the dragons are eager to meet me.
That's not how ponies make friends.
Yeah.
Ah, I get it.
Derpy!
This is a weird friendship thing you ponies do, right?
Oh my gosh! Poor Derpy.
You guys are in town too?
What are you talking about? You've been with me this whole time.
No, I'm Starlight.
Right. I'm sorry, but you can't blame me. You both look and act so much alike.
What?
That was a reference to the fandom one that...
problem started in childhood. That must have been 3. When 3's a different story. And you definitely got to hear it. But the story about my brother was when I was 2. Or was it
Cute.
1?
This is my seat. I saw it first.
Well, I got here first.
She's cute.
Thorax, excuse me for a second.
The friendship problem, dude, is Ember and Thorax.
Please, if I may, I think I can help solve this friendship problem. You two should sit together. You both like the same place, you both ordered muffins, you're both ponies.
You're a
I think
shipper
if you
now.
made it
Congratulations.
like that, you'd find- Okay, that had to have done it. Come on, Spikes. Glow.
That was also adorable. Congratulations.
Hey, that was really great advice. So, what do you think I should do?
Actually, I need a minute alone to really come up with great advice.
This is... Oh.
Great. No problem. Leave me again. It's fine.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just saying, you're both purple ponies with purple hair. You both have cutie marks with sparkly things.
Mine's more of a glimmer.
How is that different? Oh, good. Spike, can you please tell these two I'm right? They look very similar.
Well, you know, one thing French do is let something go when it's upsetting some pony else.
But I'm right. Besides, who are you to be telling me about friendship? I've barely seen you all day.
Good point.
I've seen you.
Are you calling me a liar?
Hey, no one yells at my.
Oh crap. What the? You can do that?
Spike, get away from the bear!
Actually, the bear is a changeling, and he's quite gentle.
Not anymore!
Oh, wonderful. Somebody call paramedics and the fire department.
Things are happening.
You know, they weren't that far apart. How could they be suddenly just...
Back away, Spike.
Sorry.
I'm not gonna let this dragon harm a scale on your back.
You back away! I'm not gonna let you harm him! Wait, did you say you're not gonna let me harm Spike?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm doing.
What?
Yeah.
Change back,
what?
dude.
Equestria, as we know it, is over. The war that pits Changeling against Dragon is about to begin.
Fallout Equestria is about to begin,
My
you mean?
title of Equestria's Friendship Ambassador is a lie. Oh, hey, you guys aren't fighting?
Why would we be fighting?
Because I accidentally invited you both over to Ponyville on the same day?
So what?
No, I was trying to keep you apart because I didn't think you'd get along.
Oh, I get it. You thought he wouldn't like me just because I'm a dragon and I'm bad at friendship?
Ooh.
No, of course not. But wait, isn't that why you're here?
I can say I'm bad at friendship. You can't say it about me. You know what? I don't want to talk about it.
Wait, please! I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. You thought I would be too soft and someone like Ember would never respect me. Just like my own changelings.
No!
Ah!
Thorax, wait! Oh no! What have I done?
Why are you still here?
Because I'm having trouble leading my pack.
I know,
don't really
people.
wanna go.
The ship has sailed already.
Wait, you're in charge? Oh, boy, you need to be more assertive.
Hey!
Well, that's my
You're both
problem.
leaders of your own
I don't
clan.
know
Cool.
how. I tried asking them to please follow my directions. I even offered a prize, and then...
Shh! Stop talking. That's how you do it.
Whoa, that just gave me chills.
I know you have it in you. You turned into a
This
bear.
is shipping fuel right now, isn't it?
I guess I can be tough when I'm defending my friends, but when I'm just enforcing my rules, I feel unsure of myself.
There's nothing to be unsure of. You're the leader for a reason. Make a decision and let it be known that the decision is final. And if that doesn't work, turn into a bear.
That's good.
Yeah,
advice.
if
I know it is.
So, what's your deal?
if that doesn't work, let's just use violence, you know?
To talk about it.
Oh, you have to. How else are you gonna solve your problems?
Oh dear.
Through feats of strength and fire duels, of course.
Nah. Not gonna work. Good way to relieve stress.
Crushing another dragon in competition establishes my dominance and makes me feel great.
Right, but how do you think they feel?
Humiliated, ashamed. They'd probably want to run away and bury themselves under a rock and never come out. They're probably sad, kind of low, definitely not happy.
That's because that kind of competition can divide you, and it doesn't get to the heart of the issue. Talking about your feelings does.
Ugh, I think I'm allergic to feelings.
You know, you don't have to be sappy or peggy-feely about it, but you should let your friends know how you feel.
I know where we can start.
Where? Oh, Spike. I got there.
I think they're gone. They probably never want to see me again.
Or they want to see you now.
Guess what, Spike?
I know. I'm so sorry.
Let me talk about this. I feel mad.
Okay, that's a good first attempt. Now maybe try to be more specific.
I'm upset.
You have every right to be.
I know I do. And I know I need to tell you how I feel because my friend Thorax said it would make me feel better. And it does.
Yeah, and I have no problem telling you what you did was wrong because my friend Ember is helping me be more assertive.
Whoa.
Nice.
You're working off of each other. You're helping each other to grow and build. That's
Shouldn't
great.
be mad at me. I was so worried about how it could go wrong, I didn't even think about how it could go right. Can you forgive me?
Yeah.
I really do feel better. So, yeah, I'm good.
Me too.
Again?
No way! It's finally happening! I solved the friendship problem!
Actually, you created the friendship problem by not trusting your friends.
Learning my lesson. I should have told my two friends about each other immediately, instead of assuming they wouldn't get along.
Good job, Spike.
Is this another part of pony friendship? Telling each other what you learned all the time?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, as a show of unity, I present the Dragonfire Flame of Friendship to both Dragon Lord Ember and Thorax, leader of the Changeling Pack. May the flame of friendship burn for eternity.
Cute. Whoa!
You should have more things made of rocks.
Okay, this was a good episode. It was also really interesting, because it was a very interesting setup here. Definitely not something typically seen really before. It was interesting. There was supposed to be a party or an event held where Spike would be able to basically be the goodwill ambassador to friendship to Ember, because she was supposed to visit, and he invited Thorax, and then realized, oh crap, I screwed up. Okay, and then tried to keep them apart because he didn't think that they would actually get along because they were different. They were so different from each other. He did not think that they would actually get along, and so he tried to keep them apart, fearing that if they wouldn't get along, they start fighting, and they would ultimately destroy Equestria, and Fallout Equestria would actually begin. And it was like omitted from records, and it was written to believe that it was written for ponies to believe that it was actually the zebras, whenever in reality it was Ember and Thorax that caused it. Right. Anyway, and it was interesting because Spike tried to keep Ember and Thorax apart because he was afraid that they wouldn't get along because they were so different from each other. Thorax was more easygoing, more simple. Ember was tough. She was straightforward. She had an aggressive nature, and so he thought these two people who like their personality were pretty much the exact opposite would basically not get along. And so he tried to intervene. He tried to keep them apart, and ended up shirking them. Ended up shirking both of them off because he tried to. Because he tried to keep them both apart, and he ended up creating a friendship problem, which was ironic because I honestly thought, oh, okay, Spike's going to have to venture off to do the friendship problem. And that's what I thought at first. Then whenever he was in town looking for the friendship problem, then I realized, oh, okay, it's Spike. I mean, it's Thorax and Ember. But it was really interesting here. Whenever Ember and Thorax, whenever they ended up meeting for the first time, Ember was upset at Spike because he had been avoiding her, and she was there to try to learn about friendship, and he was completely ignoring her. And so she got upset, and then Thorax saw it and ended up trying to protect Spike. Then they both realized, oh, we're both doing the exact same thing. And then they kind of realized, I mean, it was that Spike was trying to keep them apart, and they felt insulted because Spike's reasons were because of their different personalities, their different attitudes. And the really cool thing here, though, is whenever Ember and Thorax ended up meeting by the pond, or by the lake, and they started working off of each other. They became friends, and they started helping each other they started working with each other and started helping each other. Thorax was having trouble with the other changelings because he was not really assertive. He was more easygoing, and he wasn't really one for aggression. He certainly wasn't one for conflict. And so he didn't really know how to assert himself to be able to help his position with being the leader of the changelings. Ember, however, was really assertive. That's kind of all she knew. And so Ember was able to help Thorax to realize that he needs to be more assertive whenever it calls for it. Like, he's not going to turn into just being completely bossy all the time, but that whenever the situation arises that it calls for that assertiveness, that he'll be able to actually do it, and he'll be able, I mean, it will help him. And it also worked for Ember because he was able to help her to realize that aggression isn't exactly the thing that she can use all the time, and she has to talk about her feelings at times. And this was really cool because this right here is a really true thing with friends. Like, you know, keeping emotions, keeping feelings like that bottled up is not a good idea because it makes for bad communication. And, you know, you need to talk things out, you need to work things out, you know, make a bridge and work over the problem, and to be able to work things out. And that's basically what was going on here. They each had a problem, and they were helping each other to overcome those problems. They were strengthening each other. They were helping each other. They were helping each other to grow and, you know, build. And it worked out because they were able to help each other and help to develop each other's character. And that was a really interesting and very, very true thing. And it was really cool to see that development with these characters here, to be able to see them, you know, becoming friends, and to be able to see them work off of each other and everything. And it was really cool. I mean, Ember is really cool. I like her. She's tough. She's tough. She's aggressive, but she's learning to kind of be a bit more easygoing and not be as aggressive all the time. She's kind of like, obviously, Thorax is teaching her to be a little more calm with her attitude, and to try to help, you know, talk things out, to, you know, to work things out instead of using aggression all the time. Likewise, Ember's trying to is helping Thorax to be more aggressive whenever it calls for it, instead of letting others, you know, other changelings walk over him, turn him into a doormat. And again, this is a really interesting thing here. I mean, they're friends. They're friends now. They're helping each other. They're working off of each other, and they're helping each other to grow. they're supporting each other, and they're helping each other to develop and they're helping to develop each other's character, which is a really cool thing. I really, really like that. It's really cool, and it's really cool to be able to see Thorax and Ember be friends now, and not really sure how that's going to go in the future, but I can only imagine how artwork and fan fiction are going to take advantage of that, but I know that it will. And again, I can't say that Spike was wrong here. Like, you could say that it was a bad call, him trying to, like, if he knew Ember was going to show up, why did he invite Thorax? You know, he should have just invited, not invited Thorax that day, had another day reserved, and have Thorax show up, if he knew Ember was going to show up. But, like, bad planning, ended up having them both show up on the exact same day. And then, it is understandable, Spike's reasoning. He wasn't sure that these two would get along. He was afraid that they were going to fight, and it would just be devastating. And so he was taking into account the fate of Equestria for what he was doing. Like, it wasn't selfish. He was actually a very selfless thing. He was trying to keep these two apart. And so he was sacrificing his time. He was sacrificing his mentality to try to keep these two apart. His sanity to be able to try to keep these two apart so that it wouldn't endanger anyone. And so, yeah, but then, whenever he realized everything had gone to heck, he realized he had screwed up with that. And so, yeah, I honestly think, this definitely was a lesson thing for Spike here as well. Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, it wasn't really, at least from my perspective, there wasn't really much of a lesson here that he could have learned. I mean, just kind of bad planning maybe, but like, he couldn't have known that Thorax and Ember wouldn't have got along. He couldn't have known that. In reality, how can you know if two people are going to get along? You can think that they might, but then they don't. You can think that they don't, but then they will. And so again, it's understandable from Spike's perspective. I mean, that's not something you can know for a fact. And so I can't say that he was wrong, and I can't really say that, I mean, it worked out. I mean, it was luck on his part. It worked out that Ember and Thorax became friends. But again, I mean, yeah, it is understandable from Spike's perspective here, what he was trying to do to try to save Equestria. And again, it was an interesting concept with Thorax and Ember there. We also got to see Ember come back. It was really cool to see her again. And we also got to see Thorax. We got to see a bit more development with his character. It was really cool. Like, he was in this interesting diplomatic area where he was talking about the changelings. I'm wondering if that's foreshadowing for the future, because that actually was not really resolved. Well, you could kind of say it was, because he learned how to be a little bit more aggressive, but that doesn't always work. The changelings could still, like, rebel against him and cause a war, or like an onslaught against Ponyville, or like Equestria. So yeah, there is still a problem. I mean, obviously there's some changelings that cannot be persuaded, so they could easily, track down Queen Chrysalis, and she'd still have an army. So again, I mean, there's no guarantee that approach is going to work. There's no guarantee on that. And in reality, there is, I mean, it seems pretty simple here, but in actuality, in reality, it's no guarantee. Regardless of whether you're nice or you're aggressive, regardless, it's not always going to work. The solution is not always going to work. Some people still are just going to be too hard-headed to listen to reason, to listen to logic, and they're still going to do their own thing regardless. But again, it was an interesting development to see that. We got to see some good development. We got to see a little bit more development with Spike. We got to see some development. I just realized wonder why this pony dived into a hole here. We got to see some and Minuet. We got to see some development with Spike. We got to see him turn into a dance floor, a disco floor. And we also got to see Ember come back. We got to see Thorax come back. And again, I did think it was hilarious whenever Thorax was sitting there and he made the mention about his brother and everything. I mean, it was cool to hear that. I mean, even though you couldn't really make out everything, it was interesting. Going over the episode itself, this was an interesting episode. There was a lot of things here that we saw. It was interesting because Spike overall turned out to be someone that was worrying in the exact same format that Twilight would have. And it was interesting because Starlight even mentioned that he's been hanging around Twilight for too long because he's acting just like her. And it's normally Twilight that we see going into the worrying panic. I mean, just go back to episode 10 whenever Twilight was hyperventilating because Starlight switched the cutie marks of of Celestia and Luna. And then, like, Twilight knows, she gives that little, like, grin, that little uneasy grin, because she knows that he's right. That she knows that she's right. And again, it was really cute to see, again, Starlight and Twilight here, like, working together, and like, to see that dynamic with them. And then whenever find out that Thorax is there, and that moment whenever he sees the light, and he's just standing there looking at it again, I just kind of I couldn't help but thinking that's probably the reference is like insects, like moths, things like that are drawn to light, and he's he kind of has like insect heritage, and so he's drawn to that light. It's a good thing he didn't try to fly into it. It's only a matter of time till probably someone makes a comic of that, which would kind of be comical. But again, Spike realizes, oh crap, I got problems here. And then, again, it was just interesting to think that it wasn't, like I said, that, oh, there was a big war between the changelings and the dragons. And that's what caused Fallout Equestria. That's what devastated Equestria. Because, oh look, here's Equestria. Here's this massive explosion that causes everything to just split. No, it was not a mega spell. it was the dragons and the changelings that were fighting that devastated all of Equestria. And then Spike tries, and then again, I love these little outfits, these little band outfits on these ponies. These are adorable. And this one character here on the left, she's just cute. Like I love her design. I love her hair. Very cute. And again, the interesting thing you notice with these outfits for these little ponies is you notice little booties. The little boots that they're wearing on the back, and they've got the buckles, and then they have these smaller ones right here on the front, and they're also wearing like the skirts with that. Very cute. Like, I love the design for that. Very cute, and very cute. And again, oops, sorry, went back too far. Progressing through the episode, whenever Starlight and Spike realize that Ember is eating part of the wall, I honestly thought, oh, she's eating rocks, so she's kind of related to Pinky and Maud. But no, that actually wasn't it. But I love that little moment whenever Starlight is like, oh, whenever Starlight was to Spike, all right, okay, but you're going to be the one to tell Twilight what happened to her wall. That was hilarious. And I love that little moment here in the background whenever Spike is telling Starlight for her to keep an eye on Ember, and then he just leaves, and then Starlight just looks back at Ember, and then that cute moment whenever Starlight just crosses her arms on the table, like, oh boy, the things I have to put up with. And then we progress this little scene, this adorable little scene where Twilight is getting comfortable in this chair, and she does that little, like, body wiggle there, trying to get comfortable in that chair. Like, this is just really freaking adorable. Just that moment right there. And I just now noticed the book that she has open just so happens to have hearts on it. Probably like a romance story. She's reading Twilight. Sorry, I had to go there. And then she makes a mention about that one chair right there, how she can press her back against it, and it like helps to keep her awake. Again, very, very cute. Whenever Spike begins to glow, again, I couldn't help but think of a glowworm. I don't know why. but it just like it was interesting how the lights were going like down his back, and I'm surprised they weren't going like all the way down to his tail. But that moment, I love that little moment whenever Starlight walks in, she sees the map, and first she sees Spike, and she sees Spike glowing like he swallowed a glow stick. She sees the map, and then she sees Spike's glowing, and she begins to panic, and she realizes, oh, he's kind of effed. And it was interesting whenever we saw this one character here with the apples. Like, again, I think I see this character here, and I think of Winged Wolf's OC Crabapple. That's just who this character makes me think of. Cute. This could also be like, you can imagine like this kind of like, imagine this character being a little bit yellower. Imagine like this could be what Apple Bloom looks like whenever she's going to be a little bit older. And then we see Lyra and Bon Bon together again. And interesting, I couldn't identify for sure if Lyra's voice was the same as it was in Slice of Life. I couldn't identify that, but like it was interesting that they were kind of bickering there. And then another little gag that they kept going with this episode is Ember kept getting Starlight and Twilight mixed up, which I will address that comical bit later. But yeah, I love that little moment there whenever Spike was able to help Lyra and Bon Bon. Obviously, that they probably would have worked it out anyway, but that's also cute. And whenever Twilight, Starlight, is like motioning her head, like, don't say anything. Go with what I said. I love that little moment right there. And then some very cute, like, there are some adorable faces with Starlight here, just really adorable little faces that she made with this. And, like, these would make some great little, like, some great images of her. And then again, she does that little ear flop. Again, those little ear flops, like, ear flops are just adorable. And, I'm trying to grab screens of all the little cute moments there. If this thing would let me pause whenever I need to. But again, the little ear flops were just adorable. Like, Starlight and Twilight both were just really adorable here. And then it was also really interesting to see. It was hilarious whenever freaking heck the stupid thing won't pause whenever I want it to. I love that moment whenever Starlight just begins to just move underneath the table. And I love how, honestly, like, they could have went with a more detailed fashion to show her, like, actually moving to move underneath the table. I love how she just, like her body is just static. There's no movement, and it just moves down in a cartoonish fashion. I love that. And then it was interesting whenever we saw. Now we also got to see Derpies. We also got to see Derpy with the muffin. We got to see little Derpy with the muffin. And we got to see little Derpy with the muffin. And then Ember grabs the muffin from little Derpy, and the Derp's muffin senses are tingling. And she has to watch in horror as Ember's holding the muffin. And then watches in horror as Ember, like, smushes it on the wall, believing that that's how you solve a friendship deal. And you just see the shock, first off. I mean, there's two different emotions I know that Derpy is experiencing. One, her snack, her muffin, her precious muffin just got crushed against the wall. To be fair, I would have that same expression on my face if I was eating a muffin, especially a blueberry, and somebody did that to me. I would have the same expression on my face. I would be wanting to somebody's head. Also, she was also confused, like, what the heck is going on here? And so she just begins to slowly back away, like, oh, like, okay, this is crazy. And then this little moment whenever she sees Starlight and Twilight, and she's like, you two are just similar. And Starlight and Twilight both speak at the exact same time. And it's kind of interesting. Like, I know that's kind of a running. I mean, it's officially a running gag. I know people have made mentions about it before, that Starlight is like Twilight, but like, it's kind of official in this right here. Like, pretty much Ember voiced, you know, what some of the fandom has said, and I know. But regardless, again, I think it's interesting. I'm gonna see these other characters here beginning to fight, like bicker about that seat, and like this character here, I love her design, very cute, and I love like her tail is in like a little bun that like to match her hair. That's cute, and then Spike shows up, turn into a Spike just becomes UPS. Not the United Postal Service. No, Spike just became the United Pony Shippers. And he suggests they just sit there together, and these two don't waste any time. Like, okay. These two don't waste a second. Okay, they maybe wasted a second, and then they just back to back, instant ship. Too bad relationships don't work out like that in real life. And at this point, Spike just shipped them. Like, they just became a couple. Very cute. Very, very adorable. And so, yeah, I expect to see fan art of these two because, yeah, adorable. But again, it was... I love that moment whenever Spike, again, tries to shirk Thorax, and his head just right on the table. And, yeah, I know Thorax is part... Like, I know Thorax is part insect, but like, and I don't mean this as an insult to his design, but with the giant antlers or whatever that those are supposed to be, like, I can't help but think that he looks like a buck, you know, like a male, you know, like a deer, like a male deer, like a buck. That's, you know, like what he looks like. And then again, that moment whenever Ember is talking about how Starlight and Twilight looks similar. They're both purple. They have both purple hair, and they both have stars as their cutie marks. Again, this is a fandom right here, isn't it? Like, it's interesting that they were kind of getting close. They were kind of getting mad. Now, there is a difference, of course. I mean, obviously, Twilight is a darker shade of purple than Starlight is. Obviously, she's a darker shade. Twilight's hair is also darker color hue. It's more of a mix between blue and purple. She also has a purple and a pink streak in her hair. Starlight's hair is really just two colors, whereas Starlight has kind of three colors in her hair. Starlight really just has, like, she has like kind of three. Like, it's mostly just like dark purple with a little bit of like light blue or like mint blue, and then she also, obviously, Starlight has just the upper eyelashes, which are straight. Starlight has Starlight has the upper eyelashes, which are straight. Twilight has the curved eyelashes, plus the lower set of eyelashes. And also, Twilight is taller and is an alicorn. And Twilight's hair is shorter than Starlight's. Twilight more has the straight hair across her eyes. Starlight has the curl. Yeah. I mean, the design itself is different, of course, but like, I love this moment whenever they're standing there looking at Ember, like, because they're like, here you have the teacher, and here you have the student or the pupil, and they're both ready to just like beat the crap out of her at this point, and they're just they are restraining themselves, and again, really, really interesting here. And then I thought it was also interesting whenever Thorax became a freaking bear. Like, he was ready to defend his friend to the point that he changed into a big bear ready to maul someone. And I gotta say that, that's friendship. That's friendship. Whenever you're trying to protect a friend and, if you can transform into something big enough to defend your friend, you're gonna do it. Like, yeah, so, yeah. So I have to really, and also have to give Ember credit as well, because she was ready to roast him, literally, not in the verbal sense. She was ready to roast him literally with fire, because she wanted to protect Spike as well. They both considered him a friend. They were both willing to maul the other to protect him. And then they realized, oh, wait, we're both trying to do the exact same thing. And then again, it was interesting that instead of going back to the Changeling Empire, instead Thorax just goes to this pond, to this little lake, and just sits there to think, to clear his head. And ironically, that's where Ember went, to the same place. So, I mean, she could have went back home as well, but no. No, they both wanted to clear their head, and ironically, they both ended up going to the exact same place. And it was here that the two ended up working off of each other. They ended up helping each other to grow and develop, and they ended up working together to help each other to resolve the problem that they had. And they helped each other to, to improve and everything, and it also was extreme shipping fuel for the fandom. And they both helped each other to realize, what they kind of were doing wrong before, what they were doing wrong, how they should have been looking at things, how they could improve. They were helping each other to grow. They were helping each other to develop each other's character. And see, I really liked that moment there. And that moment whenever Ember and Thorax appeared in front of Spike, and Starlight made the mention, or, they could be standing here ready to talk to you, I was kind of waiting to hear the pew sound and see just a puff of smoke as Starlight gets very, very far away from them. And it was interesting that, Ember, she's not used to sharing her feelings. She's not used to expressing herself verbally. And so she was really having a hard time trying to express herself to Spike instead of just using aggression like she's used to. And Thorax was just kind of calm. Like, he was mad, but he was calm enough that he was able to still help Ember. And again, this is a very interesting contrast between these two. A very interesting dynamic. And I'm really like seeing these two work off of each other here. I really like seeing these two play off of each other. It was really, really interesting. And then whenever Thorax was also able to be assertive and let Spike know, yo, dude, I'm mad at you right now, And Spike realized, whoa, you two have stepped up your game. Well, okay, Thorax stepped up, Ember stepped back, which is something both needed to do. Ember needed to not want to break everyone's neck every time she got mad. She, just kind of, talk it out. And Thorax, instead of just kind of being, weak and letting someone run over him, no, he was able to step up his game and be more assertive. And so again, an interesting contrast. Like, these two were able to work off of each other. Really, really cool. And then that final moment whenever Thorax is like, let's just hug, and Ember's like, okay, still getting used to this. Just still getting used to this. And then they have that, and then that moment whenever Ember makes a mention about, so this is what you do, just basically, like elaborate what basically the friendship lesson that you learned. And then they just kind of laugh. Twilight, Starlight, and Spike just kind of laugh and like, yeah, basically, pretty much, yeah, that's what we've been doing for the past 7 years. It was cool. Again, there was some meta moments in this episode, and I loved it. And then, so Spike was able to have. So Spike was able to have the friendship deal here and unite, the Thorax. The Thorax. That was something from Dr. Seuss, wasn't it? I'm sorry. Unite the Changelings, unite Thorax and Ember, and was able to work with that and help to avoid a global catastrophe, a global war. And turns out Ember has allergies. And so, yeah, again, this was a really interesting episode. I can't say that it's one of my favorite episodes of the season. But it was a good episode. I did enjoy it. It was a good episode. I'm still trying to go back and see about the voice acting. Let's see. Go back. Go back. Okay, let's see. Okay, Ashley Ball as Lyra. Okay, Ashley Ball as Lyra. Did she voice her before? Okay, I don't know. Let's see. Says Ashley Ball as Lyra. I can't remember. Did she voice Lyra in Slice of Life? But anyway, again, yeah, this was a cute episode. It was fun, and it was innocent. And it was interesting to be able to see that development with Thorax and with Ember. And it was really interesting. And again, I know there's going to be plenty of fan art of those two. And I'm really interested kind of to see how that develops further in the future. Like, if what they're going to do with that. We also haven't seen, like I said, like a theory, like there was two different theories that I had in my head. One being, could Spike possibly be over his crush of Rarity? Could he possibly be over his crush for Rarity, and he kind of might have a bit of a crush on Ember now? No, I don't think so. I really don't think that was the case whatsoever. I'm sure there's probably some people. Okay, I know there's going to be people that's going to ship those two, but again, there wasn't enough done here to be able to say yay or nay. Really, I would say more nay than yay for it. And there wasn't, there wasn't anything between Thorax and Ember to suggest a romance. But that won't stop shippers either. Which I mean, I'm totally cool with it. Like, shippers ahoy, ship ahoy. But again, another thing that I thought would be an interesting development would be Ember would think that Spike was being nervous or avoiding her because, oh, he's got a crush on her. But honestly, that would kind of be too mature. Why did my camera just do that? That would honestly kind of be too mature for this show because then Spike would have to be like, like, I don't have feelings for you right now, or no, that's not it. That would be too mature. Like, that would be too devastating, honestly, for this show. And honestly, I really hope they don't go that route with anyone because that would just be bad. But again, this was an interesting episode. It was cool to be able to see Ember and Thorax again and actually be able to see those two become friends. It was interesting to be able to see that. And I'm one episode now, managing to get kind of caught up. Again. So, again, major props. Thank you to everybody that worked on this episode. Hasbro DHX. Thank you to everybody that worked on this episode. Thank you to everybody that animated, that wrote the episode, animated, voice acting, painters, etc. Thank you to everybody that worked on this episode. Also, thank you again to everybody for joining me. I hope you enjoyed. And yeah, I'm kind of catching up, which is a good thing. I'm kind of catching up with the episodes again. So, hope you guys enjoyed, and thanks again for joining me, and hopefully I will see you guys in the next video that I do. Take care.